Hi, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com, and today I'd like to share with you some alternate project ideas that I came up with using the July 2017 paper pumpkin kit from Stampin' Up! Titled Positively Picturesque. The kit is so cute as is, but in my videos I like to show alternate project ideas so that you can go beyond and think outside the box. If you want to learn more about paper pumpkin kits and what that's all about, make sure that you scroll down in my YouTube video description and click on the link to learn more. Here we go. Whenever I do alternate projects in my videos, I use some really basic supplies. In addition to the ones that come in the kit, I make sure that I have a paper snips or a scissors, some extra adhesive that's like a tape runner type of adhesive because the glue dots are a little putsy for me. So I use either the snail or the fast fuse. And then of course you'll need clear blocks, and you do get a free one that comes in your first kit. So these are the ones that come in the online store. They're a little bit more ergonomic, easier to handle, and they come in various sizes. So I have those ready, and then I have my paper trimmer ready to go. So those are some basic things that you'll need. Also, with this first project that I'm going to show you, you will need the washi tape, these little wooden elements from the kit, the heart punch out, your stamps, dimensionals, and 3 of the envelopes, which have a nice lining in them. So that's going to be fun to use. In addition to those basic products, I'm also bringing in some mini sequin trim in silver and some adhesive so that we can use that sequin trim. This is the fine tip glue pen. And then a color, an extra color. So I'm going to use some cardstock that is the Lemon Lime Twist color and the Lemon Lime Twist ink pad. Now you certainly can make do with the ink pads that come in the kit. We have a couple colors, and you can do this project in a totally different way if you'd like to, but I'm going to add in these colors because I can. All right, the first thing that we'll do is we'll trim up a piece so that we have this piece ready to go. We're going to trim it to 2 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches. And the reason why I'm using that dimension is because it will fit under the flap of our envelope, which is 5 3/4 inches wide and slightly larger than the 2 1/4. So now I've got this ready, but what I want to do with this flap before I actually add this piece to it as a little liner is I want to stamp on it and add some washi tape. So let's go ahead and add the washi tape first, because that'll kind of direct where our stamps go for our flowers. When you get your washi tape, it comes with a nice straight edge. I'm going to go ahead and tear that so it kind of comes down at an angle and looks a little more natural that way. And then we'll tape that going across the top left portion of our envelope flap, like that. And we can trim it here and tuck it under. And then we're going to use our Lemon Lime Twist ink pad and one of the stamps from our stamp set, this little flower piece. We'll mount that onto our clear block. So simple, so easy to do this. And we'll go ahead and lay our flowers where we want them to go. I think they're going to be the left one I'll put up a little higher, and that one I'll put a little lower. So now that I've kind of got them in place, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this first little branch, and that one will go with this one. And it looks like we want to be about a 1/2 inch away for the second one. There we go. That will work. Okay, now we're going to brush those aside, and we're going to add this piece here with some adhesive. Now before we do that, see how it fits under there with about 1/8 of an inch extra going over? You'll want to actually slide this down a bit, and we're going to use the envelope flap as a guide for trimming up our flap. So when we have it in place, we're going to go ahead and hold it carefully. Let's see if I can do this here. Hold it carefully and start trimming away. All right, that looks good. So now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this using some of my strong adhesive. I prefer the fast fuse when I want it to be nice and strong. We'll run that along here a couple times, and then you can lick the flap And we'll just tuck this like that, stick it down, and then the rest of this shouldn't be too hard, but you will come in and taper the cardstock to a point there. There we go. And next we can go ahead and add these two pieces with the glue dots that come in the kit, or with some of your tape runner adhesive. And then we're going to bring in our other envelopes here, and we're going to attach them all together using that same method. So we're going to go inside the flap and tape, and inside the flap and tape. Okay? I've made these mini envelope albums before, but sometimes it's fun to see it in a whole different way with a whole new kit. So, and you could keep going. You could keep adding more and more envelopes. So if you wanted to add a couple more, let's say you got 2 kits this month, or you have extra envelopes that you'd rather use rather than the ones that come in the kit, you could totally do that. This is where photos will get inserted. So again, it's a mini photo album, and you add the photos in there. So now we need to decorate the rest of the front of our album cover. So when it's folded, it goes like this, like a zigzag. And we're going to decorate down here. So let's grab our heart and start adding washi tape to the surface of our heart. And as I trim around the outside of our heart, you'll probably notice that I lined up the washi tape so that those little X's or crosses met up with each other when I put the rows of tape next to each other. I also did a little bit of burnishing, and that's where you add a little bit of rubbing and heat to an adhesive to help make it stick better. So I'll do that again to show you. This is kind of a burnishing technique, and it just makes that tape get, bond a little bit better. Okay, now that we've got our heart done and ready, and we've cleaned up our area, we're going to add our love to the top of our heart. And we're going to do that with an adhesive that I forgot to mention, the multi-purpose liquid glue. So we're going to flip this over. This is sort of like the fine tip glue, except it's tackier and more flexible, and it seems to work better on this waxy surface of the washi tape. The fine tip glue dries clear and hard, and this dries clear and tacky, so you want to make sure that there's nothing that oozes out the edges when you're using the multi-purpose glue. But the fine tip glue we'll use with the sequins. Okay, so let's set that aside to dry. And now we're going to come in and we're going to do some stamping. So let's start with the bottom envelope here, and we're going to make a little fun border along the bottom that sort of coordinates with the envelope flap, how those X's are kind of going in between each other. And then we'll use a couple other stamps in the set. We're going to use the Hooray and You're the Best, and then the little heart. And we'll stamp this one up here. See, you can stamp with just one block if you really want to. Okay, and then the last one is the heart. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add the embellishment on the bottom. So let's bring this back in. It's not completely dry yet, but we want to add the sequins first anyways. So we're just going to form kind of a little loop-de-loop look here with our sequin trim. And then we'll trim it. And I used about, if you want to compare, I used about 7.5 inches if we cut off this part that doesn't have any sequins on it. Okay, and we'll loop that back again. We want to look, that's kind of like this coming out one side of the heart, and then the other side of the heart will have this little extra fringe here. I maybe used too much. You can always trim yours down to be less. Okay, and after we have that in place and we've positioned our heart where we want it to go, then we can use our dimensionals to help hold down the sequin trim. Just making sure that those dimensionals will hide underneath our heart when we stick it on here. I think I need one more. And then we'll put one underneath the top of the heart, somewhat inward, because we're going to be trimming off the edge, the right edge and the bottom of this heart. Okay, so then we've got that on there. We're going to flip it over, and we're just going to trim off the heart edges that stick out. And when we close it up, we have our finished mini album. So here's the front, open it up, and that's where the pictures will get inserted. Kind of neat, huh? Here's another version I did with the blue washi tape. Oh, I didn't finish yet. I forgot to mention how to do these, so let's do that really quick. Then I'll show you the blue version. Okay, so now you've got these little sequins that fall off of your trim, and you'll want to use them. If you don't have enough, you can always grab a few more. Just pull them off of the end of your trim. And then use the fine tip glue and add a couple little dots of glue here and there. We'll do one there, one there, one there. And then I just lick my finger. I know this is gross. I lick my finger and then I blot it dry so it's just a little tacky, and it helps me to pick up those little sequins so I can just drop them right onto the pile. Okay? And that's how you do that. Real simple, real fast. And you don't need really small fingers or long fingernails in order to do that with using that method. So here is the finished blue version. So again, blue washi tape on the heart and up here, but all the rest of it is the same. And then of course I have these little pockets to show that that's a photo that inserts. Let's do another project. This next one is a card and only requires the addition of a sponge. All right. I also, instead of using the mini pads, I use my larger stamp pads. So this is Tranquil Tide, the same color. So I'm going to stick that out of the way. And then of course I need my clear block to use with my stamp. So I'll pick out the one that says "It's Your Day." So I'm making a card that says "Hooray, it's your day." And yep, you'll need your glue dots and your dimensionals. Now, if you love the wooden elements that come in this kit, I just wanted to mention that we also have other kinds of wooden elements in the online store. And with this, I'm going to demonstrate the method that I used on my finished card that I already have ready for you. So I won't actually sponge on this one, but I'm going to sponge on this piece here. And you're just going to take your ink pad and you're going to pounce up and down with color on top of the surface. So I'm going to start on actually this side instead, and I'm going to go nice and dark over here. So I want lots of color on this end, and I'm just pouncing right up and down onto the wooden element. And as I move this way, I can hold on to it with my fingertip and just pounce some more color on. And I'm making kind of an ombre look on my wooden element so that it's going from light to dark. Do you see that? So yes, you can ink up these wooden elements with your ink pads, with embossing powder. So if you get like Versamark ink pad and you put your embossing powder on there, you can make them metallic. you can stamp onto them. So let's say you have a textured stamp and you want to give it some texture look. You can go ahead and stamp right on the surface of these as well. So what I did is I took my base card, I put my Hooray on there that was already inked up and dried. I stamped It's Your Day on there, put this up with dimensionals, added my Hooray with glue dots, if I can grab it, to the card. And it's very similar to the one that they recommend making in the kit, except I don't have this circle piece here and I didn't stamp the extra little ideas off to the side. So it's a basic card. And if I wanted to, I could even add in my little Hooray, It's Your Day sprig. There. So anyways, there is a simple card, but with an idea that you may not have thought of yet, and you can do it just with the pieces in your kit and a sponge. Really easy. So now that we're on the topic of wooden elements, these things are really hard to mail. So if you do make the cards as is in the kit, like this, just know that you need to put it in a bubble mailer, something kind of safe to help protect this, because this will break if it's bent. You could hand deliver these cards as well. But let me show you what I came up with as an option for the cards in the kit if you want to be able to mail them. This one's a little bit different than the one that you make in the kit. It was a little bit harder because the Hooray is a different size. It was harder to get that same look. But this is what I came up with for that card. And then the Love one looks like this. This one's pretty easy to make different. All you have to do is leave off the little wooden flowers, and that one looks almost practically the same. And then this one here I did differently because instead of putting the wooden piece as the mountains, I used cardboard that comes in the kit. Now you could use this piece here. This is the little extra piece of cardboard that comes underneath, kind of packaged with your supplies, and you can get a piece that's a little bit grayer. You could also pull from your cardstock if you have some colors that are comparable. This is the color of the wooden element, and this is the color of the cardstock. This is our So Saffron color. But what I did to get a mountain is I used this box. So the box that the Paper Pumpkin Kit comes in, and all you need to do is just trace onto it with a pencil, and then take your scissors and cut it out. And I thought the box lended itself to a nice mountain because it's a brownish color. Plus, when you bend it, which you can do, it kind of has those lines in it, just like the lines in the mountain piece here. So it kind of still has that texture to it. But this will go a lot easier in the mail than this one. Let's do some scrapbooking now. On the back of your direction sheet that comes in the kit, it lists coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors. Lemon Lime Twist, Powder Pink, and Tranquil Tide are 3 of those colors. And those colors are actually in a new group of colors called the 2017 through 19 in Color family. And you have a couple choices. You could get the solid cardstock, or you could get this pattern paper that comes in the 5 colors of that in color group. But either way, if you get a packet of those colors, you have, let's see here, you have 3 out of the 5 that you can actually use with this kit. They coordinate really well. So again, the Tranquil Tide, the Lemon Lime Twist, and the Powder Pink. And what I'm going to do is use the 2 greenish colors. So I've already started kind of figuring out what I want to do for my pages. I took the Tranquil Tide as the background piece because I have the ink that matches in the kit, and I'll probably be inking up the words and all those images with that color. I also like the idea of using the wooden elements on the page because when it's in a scrapbook, it's not being put through the mail. You know, people handle them a little bit more carefully, so I'm going to go ahead and use those. And I loved the mountain look, so I'm going to go ahead and do that as one of the pieces that our eye goes to on the page. The cards that come in the kit you can open up and cut in half and use as photo mats. In fact, if you're a digital, if you develop your photos in digital format, they are just under 5.5 inches long by 4 inches wide. So this is the perfect size mat for those photos. Besides the products that I've already mentioned in the video, I will be using a couple additional things on these pages. We're going to be using glitter enamel dots. These are fun. And then we're also going to be using the decorative ribbon border punch. Let's set those aside for now though and bring out our stamp set. in the stamp set, whenever I get a kit, I always look at the stamps and try to figure out what I can do to actually make a title for a traditional scrapbook page. And in here you could do love you, or you could do best friend. I'm going to be doing the best day. So I have to mask some of my stamps. I've already got you're the best mounted on here, and I'm going to go ahead and put some washi tape, or you could use like masking tape, but of course you have the washi tape in your kit, so you might as well use that. And we're just going to cover up the word your. So the best. And let's ink that up in our Tranquil Tide color. After we have that inked up, then we peel off the washi tape and set that carefully aside and stamp it down onto our piece. Now I'm not worried about getting it exactly centered. I know that I'll have enough room for day, and I can always trim off the end. So let's go ahead and do the same thing with the other stamp that has the word day in it. Now let's go ahead and stamp the background on our blue piece here. We're going to do that with the Soft Sky color ink. And we'll put some clouds in there, but first I want to make sure I have my sun in there. So we'll center the mountain, and we'll ink up and stamp the sun. And let's just make sure, yep, that'll work. And now we can put clouds around it. And now we have a nice bright sunshine in there. Love it. Yay! And now I'm working on a border for the bottoms of both my 12 by 12 sheets. I'm using the grid paper to help me space them every ½ inch. So I've got these little flower, this is the branch image here, and I've spaced them out. And then on some of them I'm stamping the actual flower top, and on others I'm putting the glitter enamel dots or the wooden element. So now I've got a variety of flowers in this little garden, and I just have to attach a couple more of my wooden element pieces. There we go. Now let's work on this one here. I've already started with one of my branches over on this side, or one of my flower stems, and we're using Tranquil Tide on this side. We use the Lemon Lime Twist on the other side. And I'm just going to go up and down so that some of them are higher and some of them are lower. Let's use the decorative ribbon border punch now to punch along one of the edges of our open cards. Because again, this could be where the photos go. These are photo mats, but we could also keep them together and have like a 5 by 7 photo on here. I'm going to go ahead and keep them attached to each other and not cut the card in half. And we centered this so that we have the same amount on each side. Put the paper all the way into the punch and punched. And now what we're going to do is we're going to shift it. And you have these little silver outline type images here to help guide you. So then you're going to line it up again on the punch. See how if I have it off, it doesn't line up? So you want to make sure that they're right over the top of those images again. Oops, we went too far. Right about there. And we're going to punch again. And then we'll shift it one more time and punch it again on this side. And then we'll do the same thing over here. And one more time. And now we have this fun little border. We can go ahead and clean that up with the paper trimmer, but let's do that same thing with our pink card, which we're going to use just the white side of. So now our photo mats are just under 8 inches by 5.5. Let's start with this layout. And we'll need the white ribbon border, and we're going to add that to the back side of this piece. Now you can either use the glue dots that come in the kit, or you can use some of your adhesive, like the fine tip glue pen or the multi-purpose liquid glue. This is quicker to apply, but it takes longer to dry. Alright, there's the right page, and now let's make the left page look a little similar but mirrored. And those are our finished pages. The best day. Hooray! Let's zoom out so you can see them. There we go. Ta-da! That's all that I have for my video this time, but I'm sure I'll come up with even more ideas with this kit. So be sure to visit me at stampyourartout.com and subscribe to my website so that you don't miss out. Also, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can catch more Paper Pumpkin videos that I've shared using past kits and more that I'll share with future kits. If you're looking for even more alternate project ideas, get your Paper Pumpkin subscription started with me as your demonstrator. Click on the link below to start your subscription. My active subscribers are emailed 10 to 13 additional exclusive ideas each month, and they love them. Thank you for watching and putting up with my cold. I hope you enjoyed what I had to share. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.